So in this video we're going to be looking at how to create a camera in 3ds Max, and there are actually a couple of ways to create a camera. First of all, go to rendering, render setup, and make sure that your output size is set to HD TV or 1920 by 1080. Close that, and then what you can do is let's just create a quick scene here, just like a floor and maybe a box in the middle. The easiest way to create a camera from your perspective view is, let's say you move your perspective view around and you kind of like this angle. What you can do, you can go to create here at the top, go to cameras, and then click on create camera from view. And you'll see it will automatically create a camera with this view, and it will also change this viewport to that camera so that you're actually looking through that camera. So what you can do now, you can take the hand here at the bottom, which is struck camera, and if you move this view around, you'll actually see in the other viewports that your camera is also moving around. Next to that, we've got orbit camera. So if you click on that and you drag around your scene, you'll see that your camera will be orbiting around that point. And then you've got this icon here, which is field of view, and that will actually change the field of view, so wide angle and more of a long lens. And the top one is dolly, so that will actually move your camera back and forward like that. And then you've got perspective, which will just kind of create a different perspective of what your camera is seeing. And then you've got roll, which is kind of like a rotation for the camera. And yeah, you can obviously also use your move tool to click on any of these viewpoints and just move your camera around. You can click on this little plane to kind of free move your camera around, something like that. And another way to create a camera, let's delete this camera, and I'm going to go back to perspective view. You'll see it will automatically switch back to perspective. And if you click on the little camera icon here at the top, you can choose from standard camera or V-Ray camera. So for now, let's just use a standard camera. And if you click on target, you can click and drag, and that will actually create a camera for you. So now we're still in perspective view here. You can see there's the camera. And if you want to change this view to look through that camera, you can right click on perspective, cameras, and camera 1, and it will automatically look through that camera in this viewport. Let's quickly look at the V-Ray camera. So I'm going to delete this camera, and I'm going to go down to cameras again, and let's click the drop down and select V-Ray. And then I'm going to create a V-Ray physical camera, which is this button here. And I'm going to click and drag again. And it looks kind of similar than the target camera, but you'll see it's got this little grid thing going on. And let's look through that camera. So on the perspective viewport, right click on perspective, cameras, and select your V-Ray camera. And if you click on your V-Ray camera and go to the modify panel where the settings are, you'll see that it's got quite a lot of settings here. And this you can also change between a still camera, movie camera, and video camera. And it's got all the settings like your film gate and your zoom factor and all these things like f-stop, your target distance, white balance, all those kind of things. And you should really just play with these settings and see what they do. But for now, we're just going to use the normal standard camera, and that's actually good enough for this lecture. So that's basically how you create a camera in 3ds Max, and I'll see you in the next video.